Hello everyone, Nathaniel Gavronsky here, and Halloween is upon us, so I thought it was time to share with you another little tale about one of the characters of Halloween. We're going to talk about today about jack-o'-lanterns and who and what jack-o'-lantern actually is. Well, there is, if you watch my video on the history of Halloween, you realize that there is a festival in the Celtic world that they celebrate towards the end of October. The link to that video will be in the description of this one, and you can see it on the YouTube. But part of the traditions is that they have this big bonfire, is that they take embers from this fire and they light candles, they light where they could hollowed out potatoes or rutabagas or turnips, and they put lights in them and they hang them from their doors or out their windows to scare away, evil spirits. Because during this time, towards the end of October, the worlds open up and you can transfer from the living to the world of the dead, from the dead to the world of the living. And so this is a way of warding off some of those spirits. In fact, Halloween costumes originate from this very same idea of you wear the costumes that kind of scare away or blend in with the other spirits so they wouldn't harm you. So hollowing out things to, and the faces were as a tradition, it goes back thousands of years. So that is itself separate from the story of what a jack-o'-lantern actually is. See, a true phenomenon that we've still trying to quite figure out scientifically is that in like bogs of watery swamps and stuff like that, where these gases can come up from the ground, they happen to ignite for some reason and creating a little orb of light. This is a real phenomenon. This happens in North America even, but they have a history of being bad because you follow the lights and you say you're a weary traveler and you're trying to find a place to rest. You see in the distance these lights and you travel towards them as fast as you can, only to find out that it's actually a swamp. That these little bulbs of gas are coming up and igniting, and next thing you know, you're drowning in swamp water. So there is a historical accuracy that these things actually did happen, and people, were known to be following the lights to their doom. What these are called, because most of all folklores and stories, are a way of the human mind trying to make sense of what they don't understand. And so these lights get the name, Willow of the Wisp. And they even give it a Latin name of Ignis Fatuus, which doesn't go back to Rome. It comes out of Germany, but it just gives a legitimacy to the name Ignis Fatuus. And from this, these things are known to exist. So they kind of create this fable over a period of time of, people in purgatory that are actually carrying lanterns or lamps, or these are actually ghosts themselves to try to explain what these things are. Well, come up into the early 1800s, and actually January 16th, I believe it was 1836, in the Dublin Penny Journal, which nowhere near Halloween, but it was just, they had these little stories throughout the year, talks about a guy named Stingy Jack. And with most fables, they try to explain something away and they try to put a moral to the story. So there's a couple different variations of this story that were told over time, and I'm going to go over them with you. So Stingy Jack is a drunkard. He is a no-good deeder. He's a ruffian. He's a troublemaker. No one's liked. No one likes him. He doesn't like anyone else. He's just someone who's in the way, and everyone wishes that he would find a different place to go each night. However, he does have his lapse of misdeeds and sometimes does good deeds. In fact, one of the stories is where he comes across a traveler who's obviously very wary and in need of help and assistance. And Stingy Jack brings him back to his household. Then his wife is surprised that Jack is being so nice and being so considerate to a stranger, and they feed him, they keep him warm, they give him a good bed, and in the morning, instead of seeing an old stranger, it's an angel. An angel, because of Jack's good deeds, offers Jack 3 wishes. However, the angel quickly regrets this decision because all of Jack's wishes are ways of punishing people who wrong him. He makes, if anyone sits in his chair, that they will be stuck to it until Jack allows them to be relieved. Anyone touches his toolbox will be punished, and anyone touches his favorite tree would be stuck to it until eternity, until Jack gives permission to be released. So this is kind of the story here of, Jack taking something good and turning into something bad. And this will come back to haunt him in this version of the story later, because the angel would report to God that Jack, the stingy Jack, is not someone we would ever want to welcome into the gates of heaven. The devil hears about this story and actually wants to meet Jack himself. He thinks someone who's done such a dirty deed is worthy of meeting. So Jack, one of his nights, is traveling, and he comes across what he believes is a corpse, and he's curious at it and gets closer to it, and then from the corpse the face lights up and he smiles and the eyes stare at Jack, and Jack realizes that this is the devil himself, and the devil announces, "I am the devil, I am here to take your soul." And in this situation, Jack tricks the devil in a couple of different ways, okay? And this is where the story kind of breaks apart. In one of the stories, the devil sends up two of his servants up first. His first servant comes up and tries to make a deal with Jack, and Jack says, "Well, let me think about it. Why don't you, have a seat in my chair and we'll negotiate." Well, the demon sits in the chair. It's Jack's favorite chair. He gets pinned to it, and Jack takes a switch and he beats the demon, into submission, breaks all the demon's bones. Who knew the demons had bones, or that they were immortal to feel any of this pain and body damage? Anyway, the demon begs and begs and begs for mercy, and Jack says, "I will give you mercy, but you must, leave and never come at me again." The demon leaves. Well, the devil's like, "Well, I gotta send someone better. This guy is something else." So the devil sends up one of his next in command up to meet Jack. Jack meets the devil's agent, and he says, "Well, I need to fix this one thing before we negotiate." And he says, "Go grab this hammer out of my toolbox." Well, the demon goes to the toolbox, and obviously it's been enchanted from the angel. The demon is stuck. So Jack then grabs his switch, and he beats this demon and beats it. And the demon is begging for help and begging, "Let me go, Jack, let me go, Jack." And Jack agrees only if the demon leaves, and it can never come back to haunt him. The demon agrees. Well, now the devil's really in a situation, because that's his two best servants, and the devil needs to collect his souls, and so the devil decides to come up himself. Okay, and so the devil comes up, and so all the stories end up to where Jack meets the devil into a corpse. He comes up near what he thinks is a corpse or a man hanging from a tree, and the devil and Jack have this interaction. In each of the cases, what happens the first time is Jack says, "Well, okay, but before we go, I need a cane. It's a long distance, so I need you to go, get me a cane." And the devil goes to this tree to make a branch and wield a cane, and of course this is his favorite tree, and so he's stuck to the tree, and because it's been enchanted from an angel. And Jack takes that big switch and he starts to pommel the devil with it, beat and pommel and without any consideration of all of heaven and all of hell, and the devil is without any recourse. And so the devil makes an agreement with Jack that Jack will not be haunted or harmed by the devil or the devil's demons for a period of time. And in this story, the devil agrees to never take Jack's soul. The devil's released, and then Jack is, of course, his household has been blessed by the angel, so he lives prominently, he lives well. His wife is well to do, but he's drinking. His dastardly behavior never really changes, and so, like all things, he can't cheat death itself, and so eventually Jack dies. And in another situation, Jack meets the devil, and he says, "It's time to take you to hell, Jack, for your dirty deeds." And Jack says, "Well, listen, I need one more drink. Let's go back to the bar, one more drink. I want to, if I'm going to be going with you, I want to have my one last drink." So the devil agrees. "Okay, Jack, we will go to your tavern," and one drink comes to two, to three, to four, to five, to six, to multiple drinks, and Jack, it's time to pay up, and Jack doesn't have any money, and of course the devil didn't bring his wallet, so Jack makes the idea, why don't you turn yourself into a silver coin? I'll pay the tab with your coin, and then when the barkeep's not looking, you can convert back to your normal self and we can go. Well, the devil turns himself into a silver coin. Jack puts him in his pocket. Well, in his pocket is a silver crucifix. The devil is trapped. So much like the story with the tree, the devil has to bargain for his freedom. And so the devil has to agree to leave Jack alone for so long, and the devil flees, and Jack has his time period, which goes from like a year to a decade of not being bothered. Well, now it's time for the devil to return. And he comes, and Jack finds him, and Jack says, "Well, okay, I hear you. It's time to go. I understand, but you know what? I'm really hungry. It's going to be a long trip. Could you please do me a favor? Go to this tree and fetch me an apple so I can have something to eat. You don't listen to my belly growl all the way to hell, do you? It's going to be miserable." So the devil agrees. The devil goes up to fetch, a big apple. But while the devil's doing this, Jack actually carves crucifixes around the trunk of the tree. The devil is trapped. The devil has to negotiate and agree to Stingy Jack's terms that the devil will never take Jack's soul. He will never be able to enter the gates of hell. So the story kind of comes down to where the devil is outwitted by Stingy Jack in different situations. And the story kind of goes back and forth in different variations of what you hear. But the one thing it is all common in all of them is that eventually Jack passes on. And when Jack passes on, he expects himself to arrive into the gates of heaven, or he's out tricked the devil. Apparently, he deserves something. However, according to the first story with the angel that was tricked, God said, "No, not you. You turned a good deed into a bad deed. You sought out what you could have all done, all these amazing, great things, all these positive things, and you chose to do three things that are all mean and deceitful and angry. You wanted the harm of the people versus benefit them. I'm not allowing you into the gates of heaven." And the other story is without the angel is that he just lived such a horrible life, such a drunkard, life, that he was never going to be welcomed to the gates of heaven no matter what. So what happens? Jack is sent to hell. He travels down to the gates of hell, and he goes to ask for his entrance, and the devil's like, I made a deal, and I'm all about keeping my promises, Stingy Jack. I will not allow you in. I will not take your soul. I have promised you I will never take your soul to hell, and your soul may not enter. Now Jack is in a pickle because now he can't enter the gates of heaven nor the gates of hell. And Jack is asked, "Well, what am I to do? It's so dark. I have nowhere. I can't see any direction to go." And the devil actually lends him a single ember from hell. And Jack then takes a turnip that he hollows out. Turnips are his favorite food, and he hollows out a turnip, much like this one, and puts that ember inside, and this is his way of seeing. This is his lantern. So Jack of the Lantern. It was a turnip initially, and it was from this turnip that Jack has to wander all of eternity trying to find, just wandering. He's an endless wanderer. He has nowhere to go. He can't enter heaven forever. He can't enter hell forever. So he and his turnip, his lantern, roam purgatory. Now, purgatory is somewhere on the same realm of the world of the living, And so the lanterns, the will of the wisp that you see, are actually Jack and his turnip that are just trying to, wandering aimlessly around, never being able to find, a resting place. This is his existence, is this turnip. Anyway, as the Irish leave Ireland in the 1840s and the 1850s, they arrive over to the United States. The United States has these giant, huge fruits we call pumpkins, and these are all the rage. These are much larger. These are bigger. They come into season about the time of Halloween, and so they start carving these things up, and these become known as, the bigger ones become known as jack-o'-lanterns, because they are jack-o'-the-lantern. These are what you see, Jack carrying around in the American fables of this is a giant pumpkin, because it's a little bit, more visual than a turnip. So this is the story of the jack-o'-lanterns, why they're called jack-o'-lanterns. And again, the reason why you put them on the steps on All Hallows Eve is because you're trying to scare off the unwanted spirits and demons. And again, you also don't want Jack coming in, because Jack's just going to drink all your booze. And so this was a way of, warning Jack off. This is, this jack-o'-lantern is a way of warning him that, he's not welcome here. And so this is basically the purpose of why we do this. This tradition goes back thousands of years into the old pagan traditions that go around the what is now Halloween. And the pumpkin is just the fruit of choice. Yes, it is a fruit. This is the fruit of choice. This is the what was used because of the commonality, the size of it. It just is better for the North America. And you start seeing with the funification of Halloween, and especially right after World War II, you start seeing an expansion of this tradition. Because for the longest time, Halloween was not something that was celebrated or cheered for. So it wasn't until after World War II that we started getting the modern idea of what Halloween is, as far as trick-or-treating and the whole carving of the pumpkins, and like in addition, thoughts of childhood and all this innocence and costumes. So the pumpkin makes a good choice for this. It's what we've been using for quite some time now. And I am much more grateful for the pumpkin than I am this poor turnip, because these have been a lot more fun to carve over the years. I'm not a big fan of the little turnip. I wouldn't think they would last very long out in the cold. But basically, this is the story of Stingy Jack and the Jack-o'-the-lantern. He is forever to roam the purgatory with the pumpkin or the turnip as his lantern. So those little orbs of lights, those little specks that you see, that's what it is. They are just Jack-o'-the-lantern, roaming purgatory forever. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned a little bit about what a jack-o'-lantern is, the tradition behind it. Please look at the other Halloween videos that I have made. I did one on the Legend of Sleepy Hollow and the true origins of that, and then the origins of Halloween. Please check them out. Please like, share these videos, subscribe to the channel. I hope everyone has a very, very happy Halloween. Stay healthy, stay wealthy, stay wise. And as always, rock on, ghouls and goblins.